link.
Okay.
So, we're live.
Oh, are we live? Yep, we're live. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday after Thanksgiving. Welcome to Thanksgaming. My name is Abbie Cedro. I'm from the Gay Gaming Professionals. With me is the head of diversity and inclusion of Niantic, Trinidad Hermida. Woo-hoo! Today, we are so excited. We're celebrating amazing women, non-binary, transgender, non-gender conforming, who make games, play games, and are the future of gaming. We're so excited to partner up with the ESA Foundation. Thank you, ESA. We are raising money today for the GGP Scholars. So don't forget to click those donate buttons that should be on the bottom of your screen or in the chats. We definitely know that 2020 has not been the year that we all expected, but I think that we can honestly say that it's made us more appreciative of the things that we have. So if you are in our chat right now, just drop what you're grateful for this year. And, just kind of give everyone a moment and a safe space to talk about what they're, gracious for and what they're looking forward to in 2021. I know we definitely have talked and vibed about what the next year is going to look like. And I'm very hopeful, especially for our industry and our community. So, just wanted to let everyone who's watching just know, we're all with you. We are here to help support, provide a safe space for you, and the future will be brighter. Just wear those masks and social distance, and, we can all get through this together. So, we don't really have an agenda, right? We're just gonna vibe and just talk because it's been a minute.
Yeah.
So let's start off with realness. How has COVID, been for you?
COVID has been a very eye-opening time for several reasons. And what I mean by that is it's given me the time to pause, to be still, with myself and with others who I care about. It's given me the opportunity to really evaluate just the life choices that I've made and the decisions that I've made and what I like, what I don't like. I mean, I've sort of, they say hindsight is 2020, and I really do believe that 2020 has been that year of just looking back, reflecting, making decisions on who is going to continue this journey on with me and who isn't.
Yes. 100. Yeah.
So that piece of just sometimes we just do things because we're on this train and the train's going in a direction that we think we want to go in, and we're just stuck. We're just choo keep going, and then all of a sudden, something like COVID happens where we're forced to be still or forced to be in our own space. And when you're doing that, you're like, oh wow, those choices that I made, maybe I was just making myself busy to be busy. Maybe I was working really hard just to distract myself from things that I'm not happy with. Maybe I was in this relationship because it was out of convenience. Maybe I was just all kinds of things like that. So I think at the end of the day, for me, I've been really reflecting on what does Trinidad want for her future, and what is it going to take to get there? And then also recognizing who I am and the role I play in my work, in my house, in my family, and with my friend circles. And so just thinking about all those things and making a choice on, am I happy with this? Okay, if you are, keep going, right? If you're not, let's change it. Hence why, you and I connected for multiple reasons, but one was keto. So for me, this year was the year of am I really happy and healthy? And and I'm a plus size girl, don't get it twisted. I love how I look and how I show up. But I do want to be healthy enough to spend more years on this earth. And I know people who are skinny who are dying. that's not nice, or to say, but like it's not a, oh, I'm fat, like that's not gonna offend me.
Mhm.
There's so many things in
Yeah.
life just like, okay, you said that because you're projecting, but it's okay. Like that doesn't really bother me. Call me whatever you want to call me. I know who I am and I know what I represent, and when I show up, I'm here. I'm present. And
Mhm. Mhm.
so anyways, that was a long tangent on like there's just a lot of like.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. There's a lot of layers when we say, how are we doing? Because I think it's almost like, how are we doing personally? How are we doing professionally? How are we doing energetically? Like, health wise, mental health wise. Like, let's not forget to talk about mental health as, definitely like a separate topic that is extremely, extremely important to discuss when talking about how we're all doing in all of this. So that was definitely something I was excited to talk to you about, just because, one, I got to give a shout out to you. Thank you for being a mentor, a friend, so much more than a colleague, like in this space, because I don't think I would be where I'm at if it wasn't for you. And it wasn't for you, really laying stuff down for me, like 100%. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Like, you just really let me know, especially career wise, like where you saw me and where you didn't see me. And I appreciate that so much, because I think it is so important, especially for women, to just amplify and just empower each other, and not, like shut us down or shut each other down for opportunities. We're very far and few in this space. So real talk, like, thank you to you. I love you and I appreciate you so much, especially during a time where you can't communicate person to person, like, face to face, because we have had so much fun doing that, whether it be professionally or just us having fun. But I couldn't have gone through COVID without you. So
Oh,
cheers. I love you.
I appreciate you too, and honestly, in this space of being a woman in gaming, a woman in DEI, a woman in Silicon Valley, like there's just a lot of competition. And at the end of the day, I'm not here to compete with anybody because I know what I bring to the table. And so at that point, it's like, do I lift as I climb? Do I bring people along? And I promise you, I'm the most open book person you'll ever meet. But most people don't realize that because they're not willing to ask questions or put themselves out there to learn about, like, my
Yeah.
story is out there. I didn't choose this path like when I was younger and say, oh, this is exactly what I want to do. Like I didn't have that,
Yeah.
like I didn't go to school for this. So it's like,
Yeah.
so just all these different ways to get to where you want to go, and we have to do it within community. Like I wouldn't be able to. There's times when I don't know, like what tomorrow's going to bring, but I know what I put out into the atmosphere today, it will come back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still remember it was definitely pre-COVID that, we had that talk. And I mean talk. Like, I think you really laid it out for me, like why I should continue in this space. Don't give up. I mean, I was feeling beat down at that point. I think I was like, here's my white flag, I surrender. Let me just go back to what I knew, because clearly I'm just like not cut out for this. And I don't have the skin, like the thick skin for it. I mean, I was definitely a mess. But it was so important to me to have a cheerleader like in my corner being like, look, I know that it feels this way right now, but I promise you, like, just stick it out and it's going to be good. And it wasn't even just professionally. We're also talking about relationships and just how fed up we were, right? Like, can I just please, like, like succeed, do my thing, and have all my dreams and aspirations still come true, but have a partner who is going to who's going to support you and not question you every single chance that you get because you're traveling for work or for your passion project. So I remember we were at that place in Oakland, and we were just totally vibing, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. And, you know, I believe we've come a long way. I definitely see that.
Definitely. You definitely come a long way, and that's something I want to acknowledge. Like the freedom that you have now, you worked hard for, and so now that you're in this space, it's a different it's a different feeling to be able to have a peace to know, okay, what I do is not easy. It's hard, but I love it, and I just continue to grow because I'm putting my authentic, real, empowered, overflowing self in the mix, not
Mm-hmm.
a depleted imposter syndrome, like all of that. Like you're not operating from the toxic behavior, operating from a life-giving behavior, which is gonna help you to just grow in that space.
Yeah. It was just so crazy though, like just at that time, like I felt so like checked out, right? Especially, just feeling anxiety and depression and all of these different things. It's like the weight of the world is on you, especially being in this space. You feel like you always have to have positive change, but then what about the positive change in your own life? You know what I mean? Like here you are saving the world, but I need to save myself first. Like
Don't they say on the plane to put the mask on first before you put it even on a child? Like, and I've been saying that a lot lately because you know, I love how people love to give advice that they don't even take themselves. And that's something and that's not just a point of finger, but like hold up a mirror, hold up a mirror and say like, hey, am I actually doing this myself? And I think something for me that I've learned is I love helping people out. That's actually it gives me life. It's a gift. I enjoy it. Uh, but I can only help people from an overflow state. What I mean is if I'm pouring into myself, I'm doing my own meditation, reflection on life. I love reading, whatever it is that you do to pour into yourself. I love to pray, just different things like that. When someone comes my way, I'm able to give from that overflow instead of taking from my own deficit and like struggling, and they walk away fulfilled and I walk away empty. That's not healthy, And so we were talking about mental health. Uh, One thing that I've recently I went back to therapy, and
okay.
one thing that was crazy was she has this thing called the feelings wheel. It's like a wheel of feelings, and then there's like
Oh, okay.
to it. And we were having a conversation about an irritation that I had. I went out with my friends, and just one of the people there just kept on irritating me. And I was like, oh, I'm so and I was like, I was talking to my brother-in-law, and I was like, I just can't stand that person. And he's like, why? And I was like, because they're fake and they're phony, and like I don't like being around fake people. And he's like, well, do you trust me? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, I brought that person there, will you trust me that I can make the right decisions? I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but I've been protecting myself since I was 16, so for me it's like, okay, that's has kept me safe for the last 30 years, or however, I don't know how old I am, but so when I was talking to the therapist is like, when's the last time you felt unsafe? And I was
Ooh.
like, oh, really? You're gonna compare this BS person to the last time I felt unsafe? And
Okay.
no joke, a really traumatic point in my life popped up, and I was like, whoa, how is it that this is connected to this?
Right. Right.
And
Oh
that it's
man.
still popping up. And it doesn't mean that I haven't forgiven. It doesn't mean that I haven't gone through forms of healing, but
Yeah.
a lot of times you don't remember, like, hey, this could have triggered something, because for me, trust, safety, stability, all these things are very important to me. And if I
Mhm.
feel like someone breaks that trust, or it's almost like my safety mechanism is just to like cut them off.
Yeah.
You don't
Same.
deserve my presence.
Absolute same. I mean, I gotta ask, like, when that moment like happened, did were there any activities or any afterthoughts that your therapist thought that you needed to do to kind of help channel all those feelings? Was it kind of like a repressed trauma, point that kind of came forward?
Yeah, so my therapist believes in something called the empty chair. And I haven't done the exercise yet, so it's
Oh,
still a process, but like where that person, quote unquote, that was tied to this trauma in my life, like visualizing them in an empty chair and telling them everything that I want to tell them, and
oh
letting it
man,
go, because a lot of times these feelings and these things are stuck in, like you said, it's repressed, like it's in you and you're not letting them
stuck
go.
there.
And so yeah, I have to do that. And like, and that's the thing. I and like I said, I feel like I have forgiven, I have moved on, but clearly if it's popping up now 30 years later, that there's still something there. And so this is why I love therapy. I love digging deep. I love words. I love
Same.
I love listening to people, because I feel like people tell us more than they really want to, just if you listen. Um,
Yes.
so there's a lot of opportunity there, but I also realize that a lot of people are okay with being surface. A lot of people are okay with not digging deep, and that's just not my story. So I find that in my life, people who aren't willing to dig deep usually fall off at the wayside. Because I'm an
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right with that one. That empty chair method, I might want to do that with you because I definitely have ooh, learned a lot, especially during COVID when you have a lot of time on your hands. You're home. You definitely are not affected as much as like the outside world because you can't really go out, especially when we were in lockdown, right? That was a time that I feel like I did a lot of thinking, and that repressed trauma that I was referring to, is definitely something that came out just, with just like simple thoughts, right? Or just even when you're watching Netflix or just watching like an impactful like show or any type of content, you start to kind of like go back in your mind and you're like, "Ooh, that really hit me. Why did that hit me so much?" Right? Like I am clearly not in this show, so like what is going on? So it's definitely very a familiar feeling, and I want to do that empty chair like exercise because I think that that's something super important. And I also want to emphasize, especially to our audience today, that do not be afraid to go to therapy. Do not be afraid to seek help when you need it. It could be in a form of a friend or a colleague or an advisor of some sort, but don't keep it in, especially right now. I think we have seen some staggering statistics, right, about mental health and suicide, depression, panic attacks, all of that, especially in COVID times. And we just want to let everyone know it's okay. It's okay to seek help. It's okay not to be okay. So yeah, no. Hey, when you do that empty chair thing, I'll do it with you, and then we can definitely talk about it.
Yeah, I think that something that also people don't talk about is check on your strong friends. There's a lot of people out there who have this perception of being unbreakable, just always has all their stuff together. And one thing I realized is my coping mechanisms have, like, oof, beginning of COVID, I was doing the most. And what I mean by that is, you're stuck in your, I live in the city of Oakland, and, you're stuck in this like small apartment, you're not leaving, and you're left to your own self and your own devices. And so for me at that time, I'm a member of like a couple of wineries. And so I just had a shit ton of wine, you know, and I'm just like every day I'm drinking a bottle of wine, you know, I'm just like, I'm like,
Right.
I'm on Zoom fatigue. I'm just doing all this stuff. And I'm like, no. Like, okay, you can't drink a bottle of wine every day. Like, this is one of the reasons why I decided to do keto, Abbie,
Okay.
was because I had gained like 20 pounds during COVID, and I was already overweight because of traveling a lot for work. Like I was always gone, always in a plane, and as
Mhm.
much as I try to like have some form of stability and control, like you're in different time zones and you know jet lag settling in, and you're here and you're there, and so COVID
Yep.
COVID was a gift in a way for me where
Same.
it forced me to be still and sort of face my demons of like, okay, Trinidad, you're not being healthy, you're drinking way too much, you're doing too many drugs, like, you know, like these are like, you really do
Mhm.
need to like pause and be still and be like, what is the root of this and why are you so unhappy being alone with yourself? And no joke, I really got to the place where I was like, okay, I'm a dope human and I actually enjoy myself. So why am I drowning myself in alcohol or you know whatever to
Yeah.
stop thinking and
Yeah.
start to actually be able to enjoy the process of oh
Yeah.
my gosh, oof. I had this one moment where I literally was like just reminiscing on Snapchat with some, you know, Snapchat saves your, what I love about Snapchat, and this is not a plug, but what I love about it is I could save stuff and it's on their server and it's not going to go away.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I was like scrolling to the year 2017, and this is the year that my divorce was final, and then I went back to 2016 and I was like, wow, like you were not present. I'm looking at my face, I'm looking at the pictures, I'm looking at the things that I was doing, and it looked to the naked eye outside that I was having all this fun and that, you know, I'm traveling, I'm going to festivals. And then when I looked at my face, I cried. I was like, wow, you weren't present. You were running from that feeling of processing your pain, you know.
Yeah.
And so like recently, um I went through a breakup, and I said, no, I'm going to process this pain, I'm going to actually sit in this, and I'm going to every day, like as much as it may hurt, I'm actually not going to cope like or cover the coping with like alcohol or drugs, you know. I'm just going to sit and I'm going to process. And it's been one of the most it's one of the most toughest, but also one of the most life-giving and like illuminating seasons of my life, because I can genuinely say that I'm not lonely, I'm not alone, I'm
Mhm.
blessed, and I have peace. But I had to sit in this pain, or I would have literally gone through the same cycle that I went through before. Cause like
Yeah.
I was scrolling through my Snapchat and I was like, okay, you know, you were in London. You weren't happy. You were here. You went to a Coachella. Okay, that was fun for a couple. All these different things that I'm doing, and I'm just like, okay, that's great. But I wasn't present. And honestly, my gift to the people who I love and who I engage with is my time and my attention. Because if I'm not present, then there why am I there? I shouldn't even waste your time or mine if I'm not present.
Exactly. 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 God, it's so crazy that you said that because I feel like I've definitely done the same thing where I've like scrolled through like looking and it's like you look so damn happy. You look so fulfilled. You look so successful in all the check boxes of life. But then you're like, no, you weren't. You were depressed. You had panic attacks. You were very much fearful to always be alone, but yet you chose to be alone just because you were scared of remotely having any type of connection with anyone that you could not fulfill all of their standards. So that brings me back to that video that you sent me, which has been such an eye-opening experience in terms of checking yourself, right? Like, are you ready to be in a relationship and, you know, like give yourself the opportunity to be in a partnership. So let's talk about this video, because obviously we can't show it, but it is 7 minutes of realness that I feel like everyone should watch. Doesn't matter who you are, you should watch it and ask yourself, you know, all of those questions that she basically specified. So if you can just kind of give like a little bit of a background on that video that you shared with me, and then we can digest.
So the video was a lady in a car. I don't even know who she is or where she's from, but she was just talking about the role. Women say that they want women, men, whoever. You say you want to be in a relationship with someone, and you put all these standards or these stipulations of things that you want them to do for you, but are you willing to be that person to yourself and to them? And then also the idea around uh, if you're willing to take someone, so for at least is how I walked away with it. If you're willing to take someone off the market, uh, do you know what the rules of engagement are? Do you know everything that entails? And and just a side note is a lot of times we say like, oh, this is what I want, da 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 da. You get exactly what you want, and then you're like, wait, this is not what I want. You know, like, and it's almost like,
just kidding. Nope, that wasn't it.
but it's also because, have we taken enough time to sit with ourselves to know who we are and what we bring to the table and have those standards? Because it's yeah. So I could go down that road, but it's a lot of, she was talking about, it was kind of vulgar, but it was kind of real. Like, just like, yeah, are you really ready to be that person who you expect this person to be? Are you really ready to take on all the responsibilities that it entails?
Yeah.
Also realize, like, I think she was talking about, and we talked about this, I think the idea around not one person can be all things to you. That's impossible. Right. And so, right, like, you have to have your own friends. You have to have you like, so there's another, I don't know if I probably didn't send this one to you, but Esther Perel did a podcast with this guy, I forget his name, talking about the quality of your relationships. The quality of your relationships in life determine the quality of your life. And so woo, in that one, it's like we expect one person to be a village. In back in the day, we had the village, right? We had our parents, or our loved ones. They played a part. Then we had our friends. They played a part. Then we have our partner, right? Our partner is provide something. They play, but not one person was everything. They all. And so, like, even how, like, you and I are having this conversation, like, I don't need, and I mean, I'm single, but I don't need my man here, or, like, like, to be in this conversation with, this is girl talk. This is us having, yes, it is time by ourselves, right? And that's necessary, right? So it's like understanding that in our lives, we can't put people on these high pedestals and expect them to provide all these different things. That's just an unrealistic expectation.
It is. And I want to also kind of like take it back also to the fact, professionally also, all of these things apply. If you really think about it, you can't have that one employee that you look to for like every little thing, because in your head they kind of like filled this mold of they're absolutely available because they're not married, they don't have children, so they have all the time in the world to do all the projects that you're assigning to them. So I took that video not only about like love relationships, but also professional relationships, that you cannot be just one person to everything. You can't just be one person to an organization. You can't just be one person to a team. That's why it's a team. So, like, these are things that I definitely identified with, because, well, let's be real. I was single for like 5 years, and I loved it in the sense that I really took that time to get to know me, to get to know my goals, my dreams, my ambitions, my passion projects. and really also identifying with the type of people I wanted in my world. Okay. So I knew that although jumping into a relationship could have been super easy, right? And it would fulfill based on people's, standards, that I would be a fulfilled woman if I had my career, my education, and a relationship. And I remember that was something also very culturally that kind of irritated me. I would have those aunties, those titas, and be like, so when are you getting married? When are you having kids? Like, you're traveling, but you have no one to travel with. And you're going to these like events and you're by yourself. Like, oh, that's so sad. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not. Because I did the whole be with someone and it was sad because that person wasn't clearly not the right person. And clearly I was feeling like, excuse me, I was feeling like shit. Like I felt degraded. I felt belittled. I didn't feel like my whole self. So then, I was just kind of like thinking about that. So the singleness for 5 years, it was working on me. And when you sent me that video, I was like, holy crap. When she was like, what are you doing for you? Like, are you loving yourself enough so that someone can love you? So that's something that I definitely took to heart. Like, I don't even love myself. So how can I have anyone love me in the same capacity? So, that was a truth bomb right there. I was like, speak on it.
Well, that's ultimately like, okay, if we don't love ourselves, we expect someone else to love us. What kind of power are we giving these people?
Mm.
And sit with that. Like, is this person deserving of your power? One thing that my brother-in-law I love to do is we call it the name game, and it's not a real game. It's just us being facetious, but it's, name 5 people in your life, like write them down, top
Okay.
5 people, and then well, we could play the name game. You want to play the name game?
Let's play the name game. I'm down. Let's do it.
I don't know. I mean, we're live streaming, so I don't know if you want these top 5 people to know.
That I love them and I appreciate them and all that good stuff.
Okay. This is the name game. All right.
Name game. Let's do this.
All right. So hold on. Let me get a pen.
I said that this was unedited, unscripted. I'm not here to I'm done being kind to people's feelings when they weren't very kind to me. So I will just say that right now. Like, I'm a very kind person and I love everybody, but sometimes truth has to be dropped. So.
Okay. So
Do
we want to do 5 men and 5 women, or do you want to do just 5 in a mixture of?
You tell me. I'm down for whatever.
All right. So let's start with 5 men. Give me 5 names.
Okay. Give you 5 names?
Yeah.
Like off the top of my head right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Carl.
Mm-hmm.
Karl. Eric.
Okay.
Let's see. Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan.
Alan. Okay, now 5 female names.
5 females?
Yes.
Crystal with a K.
Mm-hmm.
Ampy. Nikki. Nicki. Tanya. Tanya. And Angelica.
Okay. Now,
sorry, y'all, if you're watching.
Let's, and everybody who's watching, you can do this too. So let me know. But so we're gonna start with Joel. Give me 2 words to describe Joel.
Romantic.
Okay, romantic.
Authentic.
Authentic. Okay, 2 words to describe Carl, and you can't reuse words.
Oh, I can't reuse words. All right. Loving.
Loving.
Political. Is that a descriptive word?
Do that.
Political.
Okay. All right. Now,
All right.
2 words to describe Eric.
Oh. Oh man. Damn. Deceitful.
Deceitful.
Immature.
Immature. 2 words. You know the program. 2 words to describe Michael.
Oh, empowering.
Empowering.
And brave.
Brave. Now 2 words to describe Alan.
Oh, oh shit. Liar.
Mm-hmm.
Disappointing.
Disappointing. Okay, we're gonna put a pin in the men and we're gonna go to the women now.
Okay.
Cool.
Sincere.
Sincere.
And strong.
Okay. Ampy.
Man, how do I say? She's my everything. Man, I want to say she's very gracious. Like she's just gracious and dynamic. Just dynamic.
Okay. Now Nikki.
I can't reuse. Damn. Wow, it's so many. There's so many. She's inspiring.
Okay, inspiring. For those who are watching, we're playing the name and we got here because it's really so the name game. I can't really tell you much about it. You have to just see it unfold. But it's really a game to illuminate the closest people that we have to us, and why. I'm going to ask some questions after this as to why you picked these names, but we're going to keep going. So you said Ampy was gracious and dynamic, and Nikki?
Yeah. Inspiring, determined.
Okay. Tanya?
Motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Caring.
Okay. And Angelica?
Oof, man. Resilient.
Resilient.
And is illuminating a good way to describe someone who just like radiates light? I like that word. Let's just say that.
Resilient and illuminating. All right, so now we're going back. We're going back to the prior list.
Okay.
And for example, you put Eric and Alan on that list.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of how, like, what is the role that Eric and Alan have in your life?
Oh God, I really hope y'all aren't watching, but I don't think you would be.
We don't have to continue playing the game, but we could play this by ourselves one of these days. And so, but I just I'm not trying to put you out there, but like this is something that I do often.
Yeah.
And the reason why I do this often is because when you start to put it down on paper and look at how you describe the people who surround you, that's a reflection of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reflection of who you choose to have in your life for various reasons. I mean, I could dig deep and say, give me an example of how Joel's been romantic, and you have to give me an example of that, or how Joel has been obvious. I mean, obviously I know who Joel is, but 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 then also like, what, obviously Joel's there for a reason, but you did bring up Eric and Alan, and they played the role in your life for a specific time in all that. So it's like, just thinking about that, you realize who's disposable and who's irrelevant.
Woo, girl. Yes.
And you also realize, like, why do I continue to have this person in my life? And to be able to like have this conversation with yourself of like, sometimes people keep people in their lives because of time, blood relationship. Sometimes people keep people in their life because of obligation. They feel like, so then sometimes I'll even ask the question, is it love or obligation? Is this person showing you love, or are they obligated to, like, do they feel obligated to show you love?
Yeah. Well, let me just kind of just sum it up in like a general statement. So, because I am proud of the person that I am today, I'm proud of the person that I can be to my family, my friends, and my loved ones. However, you cannot give thanks to who you are now without going back to who you were then and who contributed to that. And that includes pain and betrayal and all of that. So I will just say in a general statement that there are certain people that I named because the pain was so much and such a huge impact that I had to take a look at myself and be like, do I really want to keep living my life with this pain? No, flip it and change things around. So I put those names because it's a constant reminder for me to never go back.
Well,
look forward.
It's necessary to realize, but you've done the work and you're still doing the work. It's never gonna stop. The rest of our lives will always be evolving, but in doing that, you've sort of memorialized those moments, and in memorializing those moments give you the ability to remember them but not to stay there.
Yes.
And that's with any type of trauma or pain. And I was talking earlier about my therapy, and I've definitely left that space, that place in my life where I was with that trauma, but I've also had to take back my own power and say, like, this is not going to consume me in a way that is going to keep me bound, keep me stuck, keep me anxious, keep me, like, you can add all the adjectives and all those different things, because at the end of the day, like, I choose my own destiny regardless of what's been done to me. And I'm not belittling, because there's some pretty there's a lot of dark experiences that I've had in my life, but I don't look like what I've come from. And so because I don't look like what I've come from, sometimes people are like, you're just happy all the time, you're so focused, and da-da-da. Like, I've taken all these things that have tried to pull me down, or learn these life lessons, all these tough things that if I were to open a book, into a chapter in my life, some people would be like, wow, you should be in a mental institution. Yep. Wow, you should be dead. Yep. All those different things, right? And so
accurate.
But we're here, even all of us going through COVID. Can we not just rush out of 2020, and can we actually learn the experience? Like, it's been a tough year, and that doesn't mean that, like, if you didn't write a book, so what? If you didn't read a book, so what? If you didn't accomplish some kind of great thing like working out, so what? Like, you survived 2020.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and guess what? I'm not in competition with you. So like, so why are we trying to prove to everybody that we're so put together nicely like a bow when really if you open that box it's probably full with a lot of shit.
Exactly. Like, I don't know about you, but like for me, sometimes people are just like, "Oh my God, you're so happy all the time." And I love that you're always so positive. Yo, there's days I'm not. There are days I am not. And it is okay to do that. And those are the days that I definitely disconnect from technology. Sometimes I even disconnect from, just like from people. I just need sometimes like my own space to just process everything. And that includes days where I want to cry just so I can cry it out. And then and then I'll like be back, hopefully to like my normal self. But what is a normal self? That's why I always tell people, like, don't say normal and self anymore. Just be like, you want to be present. You want to, feel like you are, I don't know, that you're being true to you, right? And if being true to you is listening to a sad song every day because you need to cry, because that's how your process is, then damn, go do it. You know, um, there are days that I want to just like put on a movie and really feel those emotions, right? Because I don't want it to unhealthily, like, like just like target me, or again, those panic attacks or anything come up. So I really liked that exercise. And again, I apologize if your name was said, but it's just because you've all contributed to either a rise, a fall, or success. And it doesn't mean that you mean anything like less to me. I've forgiven you. If you fucked me over, I forgive you. Like I told myself, 2020 is the year that there's just certain people that might not make the cut, and I'm sorry. It's just like my life is just in a different direction. And and you even said it yourself, right? Like, this is the year where we figured it out. Like, do you really mean that much to me? Or, is it someone that I don't want to say disposable, but my mom taught me a very valuable lesson. You have friends for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. What category are you? And it's like Marie Kondo. Clean it up.
Yeah. Well, there's a book called Essentialism that's out, and I started reading it because I'm in a new season where I want to really focus on what's important at that time, or like for example with work, you have these goals and these things that you focus on for a year or quarter or half a year, and that's how you determine what to focus on during that season, right? Like, so it's like, okay, I have this goal, I need to do this in this quarter, so that whole quarter, anything that comes around that is outside of that, you can sort of push it to the side and say, not yet, maybe next time, or
Right.
this is the focus right now. And we really need to do that in our lives. Like, what, and I'm not saying like people, I hate using the word people are disposable, but like, and because that sounds so wrong, but it's like, who is in your life who's just causing noise and distraction and
Yes.
push you away from what your vision is. And because I'm a people person, I love people. I'm my friend, one of my friends says I pick up stragglers. Like, like I'll be like, I'll go somewhere, I'll be like, oh, you're by yourself. Well, come on, come with us,
Oh my God.
and
Yeah.
and my friend's like, that's distraction. Like, we're here for like, and it's almost also made some of my friends feel like they're not as important, because whenever I'm out, I'm always like pulling on new people to come into the circle or hang out. And and that's not my heart, but having that tough conversation with a friend that says, hey, when you're on your phone or you're pulling someone else or you're trying to do all these different things, you're telling me that you're not present, and I'm not important in your life. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of harsh, but you know what, I receive it. And guess
Yeah.
what, a whole year 2020 I've been trying to be present. I had a friend this morning tell me that I wasn't listening, and I was like, you're right, I don't listen when a conversation is just not important to me. Like I'm
But it's true. Yeah.
I'm so distracted when I'm not mentally stimulated. And so it's like so for me, it's like let me okay, focus, be present, be here. And I'm like, all right, well, if you want me to be here, this is what I need from you. So
Yes.
and that's actually crazy to me, is that like it took me getting to the place of someone calling me out for me to dig a little deeper to realize what the root of that was.
Yeah.
And also realize that I'm not asking for what I want. I'm being pretty like, what's the word? Just I don't know what the word is, but it's like almost like because I want this person around, and who knows what even why.
Okay. Right. No, I get it. Like I said, there's certain situations that I feel like we have to be extremely honest about now. I think that this year, like I said, it hasn't been what we expected it to be. I definitely did not expect this. I think the last time we hung out, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Singapore and London, and I'm so excited. And then all of a sudden, COVID happened. It's like, nope. But a lot of amazing things have happened also in 2020. However, it's really made me look back to appreciate everything that I have now, and that includes the people in my world. But again, there are certain people that, I hate to say it, they've shown their true colors in COVID. So, or like just in this time frame. So I've seen you for like who you are, and now I'm just kind of like, do I really want to carry you into 2021?
Questions that need answers. And as we're wrapping up, I think that's something that we can leave with people to think about. Like, who is contributing in your life, and what are the three, like, for example, and this is where the name game would go, is what do I need to do, Abbie, as a person who wants to be your friend? What are the three basic requirements that you have in order for me to be your friend? Like, what does that look like? So if Trinidad wants to be Abbie's friend, what are three things that you expect of me in order to be your friend? I promise you, when people have that conversation, they don't even know how to answer all three. And like, why don't we sit with ourselves and say, and then also the next question after that is, how do you let them know that those are those three things? Do you let them know through community? Like, what? And then also, are you those three things? Are you those three things that you expect everybody else to be?
You need to send like the instructions of this full name game. Like, one, we should put it like in our chat function, but two, I really want to do this. Like, I want to do it full out. Don't we just won't do it on Twitch. But
well, yeah, we'll do it, and I'll have my brother-in-law do it with as well, because like,
okay.
It's definitely, we have this saying that if you're willing to come to our house, then you should be open to playing this game. And some people get scared.
I love that.
Scared because it's like vulnerability. Like, realistically, you're gonna realize that probably 2 or 3 of the people on that list need to go.
I laugh, but yes.
Fun fact, right? And then but then there's also there's a topic that that we were talking about. It's called the price of poison. Like, there are some people who we know they are not good for us, but we choose to keep them in our lives, and that's the price. You have to acknowledge that you're paying a price for that poison.
Oh, yes, you're so right. Oh my God, has it really been an hour? Like, we can keep doing this, and I think that we might have to do this again. So GGP, ESA, all the amazing organizations that have been a part of this, Thanksgaming, we thank you so much. We had so much fun. I definitely had so much fun. Really appreciate each other and take care of one another. Let's do this again. Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it again.
Down.